Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Jab Cross Hook, a FanSided Fight Show ahead of this weekend's UFC 271 card. I am Iain MacMillan, senior editor with BetSided. I am joined by Reed Wallach, another senior editor with BetSided, and Amy Kaplan, our FanSided MMA editor. Thank you, too, for joining us. Well, we are the three co-hosts for this show moving forward. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give out some picks for each UFC card moving forward. Myself and Reed, we did this a couple weeks ago. Quick little, dress rehearsal version of this. But
yeah,
a little test run. And I'm glad that it was a test run because my picks were absolutely terrible. But basically what we're doing is a bet draft. So we are going to do a snake draft, and every time that a fighter gets selected, that pick is locked in. It is off the board. Nobody else can take that pick. We are going to go through 4 rounds. It is going to be us 3, and we are going to be joined in just a moment by UFC flyweight Jeff Molina. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first of all, Reed, Amy, how are you feeling? Amy, I'm going to start with you. You did not join us for the first draft, but how are you feeling? Are you excited for this card? Do you think you're going to have a few good picks? How are you feeling right now?
I honestly am not confident about my picks at all because there are so many really evenly matched fights. That's the thing. There's not like a ton of people that I'm just like, yeah, of course they're going to win. And I think that makes it exciting every card. Every single fight is going to be exciting.
Evster 810 on YouTube already chiming in. Whitaker is where the smart money is. We'll see if anyone takes Whitaker as a big underdog in the main event against Israel Adesanya. Amy, I do have a question for you, though, because you are our MMA insider. You are at the large majority of events. You're not going to be there this weekend in Houston. But I always wonder as a bettor, because this is something I don't get because I'm not at the events live. Do you ever see fighters in weigh-ins or the days leading up to it and you think, this fighter doesn't seem themselves right now? Do you ever get that sense with having your boots on the ground there?
Absolutely. Sometimes you can see a fighter who has had a really difficult weight cut and it kind of gives you pause like, oh, how is that going to affect them tomorrow? Especially if you see a fighter that doesn't typically have those types of issues, or on the flip side, you may see somebody who does typically have those issues, who comes in totally fine. And then you're like, okay, now this is going to be a totally different fighter. Same with when we go to media days, we see how they're being, how they interact with us. Sometimes they're real quiet. Sometimes they're more engaging. All that kind of stuff really plays into their mood going into the fight. And I personally weigh a ton heavy on that fight week and how they're acting that fight week.
Yeah, that's a great point from Amy. Iain, I know we bet NFL, we bet NBA, college basketball. It's like an injury report almost. How does this fighter actually look going into the fight? Because each fight's its own set of rules, circumstances. If someone has a bad weight cut. I mean, we saw it the last pay-per-view with Davis and Figueiredo. The fight prior, he almost passed out on the scales. This fight, he came in dynamite and he looked amazing, and he looked the part and won his flyweight championship back. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that with Jeff. But these are like the type of variables when it comes to UFC betting that I think almost go a little under the radar when you're trying to place your bets. So it's sometimes better to wait until Friday, see these guys at the weigh-in or women at the weigh-ins, and make your bets.
Yeah, and I think maybe it was 2 weeks ago now. With Francis Ngannou, we were hearing rumors that he had an injury. We didn't know what, we didn't know how severe. And then come day of fight, hours before, we get the report of what it was, and then find out hours after the fight really what it was. That kind of stuff that the fans aren't going to hear that, but us, media, we hear that and we see that. We can't report it because we don't know, but we hear that kind of stuff. So all that stuff plays in.
Yeah, and it's always so tough in the UFC because you don't see people fight like in every 6 months. Maybe you might see a fighter, whereas other sports you see multiple times a week, or in the NFL once a week. So it always gets a little bit tricky. Reed, I will say congratulations for winning our dry run of the draft a couple weeks ago for UFC
inaugural champion.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not an official win. I'm not giving you that. You
it's like Ronda Rousey. You just handed him the title.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Not under the jab cross hook umbrella, so it doesn't count. It was test run champion. That's all I am.
I will remind everyone that's watching, please subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're watching it on. Give us a like and feel free to live comment, and we'll have some interaction that way. And feel free to chirp our picks. Agree with our picks, whatever you think, let us know. But without further ado, let's bring in our special guest for the first episode, Jeff Molina, UFC flyweight. Hello, Jeff. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, guys?
You are the perfect guest for us, especially on the first show, because I understand that you are a sports bettor already. Do you gamble on MMA mostly? Do you bet on other sports as well? What sports do you look at when you bet?
Yeah, man. First, thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be on the first show. And yeah, dude, I am a fellow degenerate. I just bet MMA. I quit my job after my debut. I still worked it a couple months after my debut. And my biggest worry was when I quit my job was like, dude, I have no passive income coming in now. Like, I could slip on a banana peel, tear my ACL tomorrow, and not fight for a year. And my coach, James Krause, is a fellow degenerate, and he showed me the ropes in betting. So that's my passive income now. So I take it serious. You know, I put a lot of time and research every week. I spent a couple hours making my picks, and yeah, man, it's been my passive income, and it's been going really well for me. So yeah, I love talking fights. So at the start of the year, man, I had a bunch of money into stocks, did terrible. I was trying to, I guess it was the start of last year, you know, try to do the GameStop thing, try to do the AMC thing. And it just wasn't working out, man. I didn't have the time to spend hours on Reddit threads, and it just wasn't working out, man. So I pulled all my money out of stocks, put it into betting, and it's gone pretty well for me. I know a lot more about MMA than I do stocks. I spent the last decade of my life dedicated to the sport and committed to the sport and watching tape all the time. So my money's better in MMA betting than it is stocks.
Yeah, so Jeff, I actually have a question based on that. As a UFC fighter yourself, are there ways you think that it's helped your betting strategy? You kind of know these guys ins and out, you know their training camps maybe a little bit better. You think that that's obviously kind of an edge into, you know, betting on these fights. You really have a real sense for this stuff.
100%, brother. Like in stocks or in Wall Street, that's called insider information. In betting, that's not a thing, dude. Like it really helps. Like I've trained with a lot of these guys. Like I've been doing this sport since I was 14 years old. So I've been down to ATT. I've been training in Colorado. Like I know a lot of these guys firsthand. So it's just and of course I think we got 17 UFC fighters at our gym. So I got a lot of like insider information. I know when someone's hurt. I know when someone's not. So yeah, dude, it's awesome. Like it's been really well for me. Not trying to brag like I made millions of dollars, but it's my passive income, man. So I take it serious, and I haven't really lost officially yet, right? I lose bets all the time, or I lose plays all the time, but actually lost big. It hasn't happened yet. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, a couple points on that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
No,
that's my cat Daisy.
Sorry.
Yeah, she wants to join in the fun. A few points, and I've immediately lost all confidence that I'm going to be able to win this draft because UFC. I bet on almost every sport, and UFC is by far my worst one. I stink at it, to be completely honest and transparent. I'm good at other sports, not good at UFC. But a big reason why is, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Amy, is that like I don't know what kind of shape these fighters are showing up in for their fights. Sometimes like I'll bet on a person and they're clearly injured or they're clearly out of shape. And then I'm like, well, I wish I kind of knew that information. So that must help you a little bit that you kind of have, you know, people in it, you know, these guys at the gym. So you hear a little bit kind of what shape these men and women are in heading into the fights.
For sure, man. And I think Reed asked earlier about like watching film, and like I look at it from a different perspective, man. Like the betting perspective is way different than like a coaching perspective or even like a fighter's perspective. Like if I'm fighting someone, I'll watch the fight as his opponent, and then I'll watch the fight as his coach. But with betting, it's like a whole different perspective, man. There's a lot more details you got to put into consideration. So I think it's helped me as a fighter, to be honest. Like I just more attention to detail. Like man, yeah, I watched a ton of film before I started betting, and now it's just gone. You know, I legit spend hours, like every Tuesday. That's when I make my plays. I watch a bunch of film, and there's some plays that I'll wait until weigh-ins to see. But yeah, most of my Tuesdays watching film on these fights and looking at their guys' records, like level of competition, who they've lost to, who they beat, and yeah, man, it's been good to me.
Have you had to bet on a friend?
I have, yeah.
Like
I actually just hammered.
I guess I should say.
No.
Yeah. Not to say the friend.
yeah. I actually, David Onama just took a short notice fight, I think a week and a half ago. He's fighting Gabriel Benitez next Saturday, and I just hammered him, man. I put like 5 units on him in total across 3 books, so I like that fight a lot. I think he opened up at -125, so if you guys want some money.
Yeah, good. Writing that down now as we speak.
That's next week. Yeah. Taking notes of that right now.
Right, Jeff can't come on next week and draft because I'll be drafting him if we're running this back.
Yeah.
And I should have mentioned at the top there, Jeff, you're 2-0 in the UFC. Congratulations. Wins against, now I'm terrible. Pronouncing names is bad enough. Pronouncing MMA names I'm terrible at. Your opponents, Daniel Lacerda and Keeling Aori. I know I butchered those. Fight of the night, though, in that second one at UFC 261. That was a banger. That's extremely impressive because that was a stacked card. I think there was 3 title fights on it. And you won fight of the night for that. So good stuff, man. Do you have any idea who your potential next opponent was? I believe Cody Durden might have threw your name around. Is he a potential opponent? Do you have any insight on that yet?
Not yet, man. I just got hit up by my manager today about a timeline. We're looking at May. So May sounds good to me. As far as an opponent, Durden called me out, and then a week later took a fight against the undefeated Russian guy, the young guy. I forget his name, Mohammed Makayev. I could be butchering that. Yeah, I'm really bad with names too.
Guys.
yeah. So yeah, looking at May, and as far as opponent, man, whoever's not booked, it seems like a lot of the flyweights are booked. It's not really that steep of a division. So O'Day Osborne sounds good to me. Malcolm Gordon's getting married in May apparently, but that fight intrigues me. Tyson Nam intrigues me. That fight intrigues me a lot, man. We're managed by the same company, Iridium, and I heard he's injured, but that fight really excites me, man. He's a name. He has some name value. Hits hard. He's got that one-shot knockout power. So that's a fight that would wake me up early in the morning every day. So I like that.
I love it, man. I'm excited for it. Well, let's get into the draft here. So just a recap of what we're doing. 4 picks each. Jeff, we are going to give you the first overall pick as our guest. I will say the first 2 rounds are prelim fights only for UFC 271. Starting in the 3rd round is when you're going to be able to start taking main card fights. And since it is a snake draft, you will have the first overall pick in the 3rd round as well. So you'll have first dibs of the main card. So it's going to go Jeff, Amy, Reed, and then myself. And then because it's a snake draft, it wraps around back the other way. So all of these are risk 1 unit, not to win 1 unit. It's all to risk 1 unit. And then whoever finishes the card up the most amount of units, or God forbid this happens, but is down the least amount of units if we all lose, but let's hope that doesn't happen, will be declared the winner. Any questions at all? Are we ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
I think we're ready. All right.
I've refilled my wine. I'm ready.
Yes, I have a beer here as well. Reed, I think you have a beer. Jeff, I assume you're not drinking because you are a professional athlete, unlike us. So that's all right.
I'm doing a podcast right after this, and they just told me they got a bunch of beer for me, so I might be drinking that regardless.
Perfect. All right, so Jeff, start us off. First overall pick in the 1st round has to be a prelim fight. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Andre Arlovski. I actually played him myself. I put a half uni on him. I got him at -145. I'm not sure what he's at now, but I like him a lot in this fight, man. I like him a lot in the bigger cage. This is a pay-per-view card, so they'll have the bigger cage. And it's a heavyweight fight, so those always scare me for the heavyweight factor and the fact that these guys can literally put each other out with 1 shot. But I like Arlovski on this. He's actually won me a lot of money in the last year. So, yeah, I'm going with Arlovski in this one.
Interesting pick. Yes, -145 is the official odds on that at WinBet. So that is what you have it locked in at. Interesting first overall pick. I might have some more comments on that a little bit later. But Amy, you are second overall here. Who is your pick?
You guys are going to roast me for this. I already know. It's Roxanne Modafferi.
Oh, you stole that from me.
Yes. Okay, so obviously she doesn't look great on paper. I get it. But when you have a fighter who has had a career like hers and she's going out, she knows it's her retirement fight, I think that she's going to go in there, make risks that she wouldn't normally do. She's going to have fun. She doesn't have to worry about her record. I'm going Roxanne.
So I do want to say a quick thing about Roxanne. I did not think anyone was going to take her because she's a massive underdog, +310. But I was going to just make it a respect bet. Respect to a true OG of mixed martial arts. Even though the bet might not win, women's MMA pioneer. This is her final fight. She was fighting back in like 2003 was her first fight in Japan. She has been around forever, true pioneer of the sport. And like you said, Amy, she's not necessarily the most athletic person in the world. Like I think it's okay to kind of say that, but she has won sometimes as a huge underdog. +240 against Andrea Lee, +240 again against Antonina Shevchenko. And she upset Macy Barber as a 6-1 underdog once. People don't talk about that. That's one of the biggest upsets in UFC history when she beat Macy Barber in that fight. So respect to Roxanne Modafferi. What a career. I did not think anyone was going to take her, so now I got to kind of redo my strategy here. I thought there's no way anybody was going to take her.
I feel like.
I know it happened.
That's not a bad play, though. That's not a bad play. I like that. A lot of people are hammering her on parlays. I'm staying away from it. I do think Casey O'Neill's going to win. Like, gun to my head, I'm picking her. But Modafferi's made a career of grinding people up against the fence, taking them down, and she's got good jiu-jitsu, and she's got good top pressure. She holds people down, and Casey O'Neill's one kryptonite so far in the UFC has been, like, I think she lost the first round against Valentina Shevchenko's sister, Antonia. I forget her name. But she got mounted. She won the fight, of course, but in the first round, I believe she got mounted, and Shevchenko landed some decent shots before she got 180'd and put on her back. And then there was another fight she had where she lost a round from just getting pushed up against the fence, and that's Modafferi's whole game. So I think the odds aren't doing Modafferi justice. She's an OG. People put a lot of factor like into her age, but for some reason, heavyweights and female fighters can fight for a lot longer than the rest of the division. So I like that play a lot, Amy. That's not a bad play at all.
Yay.
Very technically sound. If you are not technically sound against Roxanne, you're going to lose. All right, Reed, you're up, third overall pick. I got to relook at my board here while you're giving the pick, and I hope you don't steal another one of mine. So go
all right, I'll filibuster a little bit. I thought we were doing beer on the show, so I went to the local bodega. I asked the guy what like best beer to get or whatever it was, and he went with a Victory. I got the citrus ale Whirlwind. It's actually very good. That would have ruined the entire show if I was drinking crappy beer the entire time, but it's pretty good. But anyway, so my first pick is going to be Alexander Hernandez. Alexander the Great, plus 140, I believe, at WinBet. His opponent, Renato Moicano, who I definitely butchered his name.
Moicano.
Moicano. Let's try it again.
I don't know if that's right. That's how I say it.
No, I think that's it.
He is a bit chinny. He's been knocked out in 3 of his last 4 losses, and Hernandez has some power. He could pack a punch, 6 knockout wins in his 13 UFC fights. He's a bit of an up and down fighter, but I just like the price on him as an underdog. This is one of those, if he was minus 160, I'd probably lean the other way, but he's plus 140, so I'll take a stab on Alexander Hernandez, my first overall pick. That's still one of yours.
Interesting.
Again, Ian?
No, so my first pick, 4th overall. I got 2 in a row here because it's a snake draft. I'll go with the. I think this was one of my locked in picks, but now it made me nervous because Jeff picked Arlovsky. So I am going against you, Jeff. With my first pick here, I'm going Jared Vanderaa, and it's at plus 125. It's an underdog pick. I don't really have a lot of in-depth statistical analysis to back this up. I'm being a little bit of an ageist here. Arlovsky's 43 years old. He has 54 fights. At some point, he has to start having a little bit of regression. He's been around forever, but I mean, he's won 4 of his last 5 fights, so like he's still in it. But I mean, at some point, you think he's going to fall off a little bit. And I think Jared Vanderaa, I think he's had his young UFC career. He's had some sneaky tough fights though. And I think he's being undervalued because of that. Like Alexander Romanov in his last loss, just an unbelievably tough fight. He's had a few tough fights. I like him as an underdog. I would set this line closer to pick him. But now I'm nervous because Jeff's on our loss. So that might be a loss right away, but that's my first pick. And I'm going to go with another underdog. It might be my draft board might be underdog heavy here. Wiliam Knight, plus 145 against Maxim Grishin. 11 MMA wins, 9 of them by knockout. Taking on a guy who's 1-2 in his UFC career. He's a plus 145 underdog. I think kind of my strategy going into this week, because I did, when I lost to Reed bad, I dabbled in favorites that lost and it killed me. So my strategy today, and maybe I'm giving away what my next 2 picks might be, but I'm going to go underdog heavy. So I'm going with another one, Wiliam Knight plus 145 for my second prelim fight.
Okay. So back to me.
Back to you, Reed.
Okay. So I'm typically an underdog guy when it comes to UFC. I like to bet underdogs, but I went underdog first with Hernandez. I want to just make sure I get one on the board. He's probably my favorite on the card, especially on the prelim card. Again, I might butcher the name, but Sergey Morozov, he's fighting Douglas De Andrade. again, this is a guy who I just think he has the most clear path to victory. He can pressure D'Andrade on the ground. He can get this down to the ground. He's averaging over 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. Again, Andrade is all about the knockout power. Most of his wins are by KO, but I think Morozov's going to be able to close the distance, put this up against the cage, and tire him out. This just seems like a clear -215 winner. I'm probably going to look to key in on him and some favorite parlays, but I want to get on the board, so I'll lay the juice and take Morozov as my second pick.
That's a chalky pick. It's a chalky pick.
Listen,
it should win for you. It's a little
sexy. They can't all be sexy picks. You got to make sure you get on the board, though. So
that's
Morozov
true.
And I didn't love anything else on the prelim card, so I wanted to make sure I got something I'm confident in.
I will say quick shout out to the people in the comments. Sid Ferris says, I'd bet on Izzy. If Rob wins, I'd be the happiest guy. And if you lose, at least I earned a couple bucks. That's what I call the emo hedge, my friend. Curtis Calhoun says, great to see Jeff as the first guest on the show. Yes, absolutely. And Sid Ferris also said he's going with Jacob Malkoon. Just wanted to shout out the people in the chat. We are back to we're back to you, Amy. Your second pick. You stole the first one on me. I hope you don't steal another one on me. We are still in the prelims, though. What's your second pick here?
Okay, so this one's harder for me because all three of these people, because I had some backups just in case, are all very even. And I'm gonna go with Mike Diamond. He's an underdog again. Did I steal it again? No.
Nope.
Damn it. So it's his UFC debut, which I think, I place a lot into the head of the fighter more than the skill of the fighter. I don't know why, but I think coming in on your UFC debut, he's really new, but he has a lot of different types of wins, submissions, KOs. I think he's kind of unpredictable, and I just feel like, I don't know, I just have a feeling, and maybe it's the diamond. I don't know. I'm just attracted to it, so I'm going with him.
All right, I like it. All right, so Jeff, we are back to you. Your final prelim fight first, and then you'll have first dibs of the main card. So hit us with your next two picks.
I'm gonna go against what you said and go with Max Grisham for my pick.
All right,
that's where I was.
We're head-to-head on both picks.
I was leaning too. I was between Grisham and Morozov. So Jeff gets another.
I like Morozov too, though, man. Morozov's a good pick. I don't like kind of like Morozov. I think he wins that fight if he doesn't get clipped, right? I think if he doesn't get caught. And I don't like betting on two things. I don't like betting on the one chance of a guy getting caught just because he has knockout power, unless his name's Francis Ngannou. And then the second thing is I don't like to bet on someone having that over-the-hill performance, right? So like Dominic Cruz is due for an over-the-hill performance soon. Arlovsky is due for one. I don't like playing those. I don't like relying on those. And in this fight, I think Grisham's one shot of losing is getting caught. I think, again, in the bigger cage, he'll be able to keep Knight on the outside. Knight has some good wins on his record. I thought he lost his last fight. It was a close fight against Minefield. But level of competition, I give it to Max. And I think he's going to be able to keep his range and be kick heavy and just keep him on the outside. And then Knight's going to get tired, man. But Knight hits hard. He's a little fire hydrant for the weight class, short, stocky. I just think Max is the bigger, and by bigger, I mean taller, fighter, and I think he'll be able to use his reach and get the win.
All right, so literally, I'm going against you with my first two picks. So I'm done.
Someone's gonna win.
My confidence is out the window. I'm done already.
Man.
I've lost before we're even done. But go ahead. You have now the first pick of the third round. So the main card is now on the board. We can draft main card fights. You don't have to. You can stick to the prelims if you want, but the option is available. So let's hear your first pick in the third round.
Oh, is that on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Main card is available.
Main card is now available. Let's go. I'm going to have to take a peek at the main card.
Take a peek.
Well, Jeff, while you're looking at the card, I could ask you a question just about two flyweights going at it if you want to double task. But
yeah, let's go.
Alex Perez and Matt Schnell are going at it. Perez, a huge favorite. He's fighting for the first time since he lost to Figueiredo for the flyweight title. I don't know how familiar you are with their recent form or anything. If you had any comment, because I know that's your weight class.
Yeah. I like both these guys. I had the opportunity to train with Schnell when I was 19. I went down to Florida, stayed in the dorms at AETT. I was with my coach, Jason High. and I got to do part of my camp out there. I was getting ready for a fight, and I got to train with Schnell. Good dude, solid dude. He was staying in the dorms, and he's good, man. I do have Perez in this fight. I just think he's
big
better
line. That's
in every area.
A steep price.
Yeah, and he was going to be one of my picks if odds weren't a factor in this show. But yeah, I like him a lot. I do think Schnell has some sharp hands, man, and I think he can clip Perez. But just at 25, we don't see that one-shot power a lot, and I think he's more of a volume guy. But gun to my head, I'm going Perez.
Sure.
And as far as my pick, I'm going with Jared Cannonier. I like him in this fight, man. I know it's hard to not smart to bet against Blonde Brunson, and you're laughing, Ian, so I'm assuming you're going with Brunson on your pick.
Don't worry, I was going to plan on stealing it.
Okay.
So I'm part of this group chat with my coach who kind of runs it, and he puts his picks in, and he's picking Brunson as well. I'm going against the grain, and I'm going with Cannonier. I think he will be able to stop the takedowns, and I don't think Derrick Brunson's stand-up's that good, man. He does things that aren't technically sound, and at that weight class, you will pay for it, right? He blitzes in with his chin right up high, and in his last couple fights, he's looked great. Like Blonde Brunson, is definitely someone to respect. But in this fight, I don't think he'll be able to get the takedown. It's a 3-rounder. I just like Cannonier in this fight. I think he'll be able to stop the takedown. The dude's a freak athlete, and I think he's going to be able to put it on him.
All right, I like it. I like it quite a bit. All right, Amy, you're up.
Okay, I'm going Derrick Lewis. I know that like a lot of people were saying, it's Houston again. Oh my gosh, what if he does his whole choking in Houston again? But he went on an interview recently and he said the last fight was obviously a big deal for him, obviously because of all the implications and everything. But it was also the anniversary of him getting out of prison, which he didn't tell anybody leading up to it. So I think his mind just wasn't there. So I think he's going to come back and he's going to show everybody, this is my hometown. This is where I'm at. He's also the favorite. So come on. I mean, it's Derrick Lewis. I just hope that no matter what happens, they both do a shoey.
That would be nice. I read today that Tuivasa also wants to do a shoey out of Derrick Lewis's cup. So that would be nasty. I hope I don't see that, but I hope
Amy
they
almost
do
spit out
a
her
shoey
drink.
together.
Yeah,
spit out her drink.
Well, hopefully both guys are conscious after the fight. I mean, I imagine it's going to be an incredibly violent fight. I'm hoping they're both standing to do a shoey. I guess that's best case scenario for them too.
The crazy thing was that when he threw his cup into the crowd, there's only like 20 people there, and it was a dude that like lunged for it. I was like,
imagine lunging for that.
I saw the whole thing go down. I'm like, this is so gross. Anyways.
Yeah, I will not be lunging for someone else's cup. All right, Reed, third pick, third round.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm going to go head-to-head with you now. I'm going to take Derrick Brunson. This is, like we were saying, respect, Derrick Brunson, the gatekeeper of the middleweight division. Yeah, I've been on Derrick Brunson in pretty much all of his fights. He's been, he was a pick'em and then was an underdog in his last 4 fights. He's won all of those fights. On a 5-fight winning streak. I just think that he has the gas tank. He has the ins and outs to really overwhelm a guy like Cannonier. Sure, he can stuff the takedowns, but I feel like Brunson can control the rounds and spam enough volume to get probably a decision. I don't think he's gonna have the power to knock out Cannonier, but listen, anytime I see plus money against Derrick Brunson, he gets a bet no matter what. So he's made me enough money over the last 2 years. He'll be my third round pick.
Blonde Derrick Brunson. Sid Farah chimes in the chat, says Brunson playing a game on his phone during the press today was interesting. What does that mean? Is he relaxed or he's just not taking it seriously?
Cool as a cucumber. He's ready to go.
He could also be really, really nervous, and that's just his way of calming down.
Maybe.
Potentially. All right, I got back-to-back picks. My third and final pick. I'm going to start. I'm very glad this wasn't stolen. I'm taking a shot at the underdog in the main event. Give me Robert Whittaker plus 220 to defeat Israel Adesanya. So leading up to their first fight, Whittaker hadn't had a takedown in the UFC since he fought Uriah Hall all the way back in 2015. That fight took place on the card that had Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey in the main event. That's how long ago it was. So he did not use his wrestling. He stood up. He used his striking, and it worked for him all the way up until he faced Israel Adesanya, lost. Now, since that loss, he took Darren Till down twice. He took Kelvin Gastelum down 4 times. So he really utilized that wrestling against Gastelum. So I think heading into this fight, he's embraced his wrestling. I think he's going to use that strategy, especially now after Jan Blachowicz kind of showed everyone that Israel Adesanya's weakness is his wrestling. He can be taken down and held there. Now, of course, Blachowicz had the size advantage, and he's a lot bigger than Whittaker is. So we'll see if that strategy is going to work. But I think he's certainly going in with a different strategy than he did his first fight. In rematches, I almost always take the guy who won the first time. So I'm kind of going against my own strategy here. But I think he's going to be coming into this with a different game plan. I think it's going to be a different fight. So I'm taking a shot, Robert Whittaker plus 220 in the main event.
I like that. I like that.
It's your pick again.
Right.
Yeah, you're back up. Follow up that hot take.
It's not a bad play either, man. It's Whittaker's got more than a chance, more than a puncher's chance, right? Like I think he's in a situation to where like if Izzy Adesanya didn't exist, like he'd be the champ, you know, kind of like a Colby situation, right? If Usman didn't exist, he's the next best guy. And I think Whittaker's in that boat. He's a good blitz fighter, and the dude can wrestle, man. It's just hard to get in on Izzy, but I like his chances in that fight. I'm not playing that like with my actual money, but I don't mind it, man. Especially at those odds, I think they're a little disrespectful towards Whittaker.
I think the odds are. I would set Adesanya as the favorite, but I think plus 220 is pretty disrespectful. So I'm gonna go. I'm deciding between two right now. I'm surprised that one of them's not taken already. I think I'm going to go in the opening fight of the main card. Nazareth Hakparat? I'm the worst at pronouncing. Plus 115, slight underdog against Bobby Green. I mean, listen, he lost his last fight, but it was against Dan Hooker. I mean, I think I can forgive a loss against Dan Hooker. I'm shocked that he's the underdog. If I were to set the line, I would set I'd flip them. I'd put him as like the minus 130 favorite. Bobby Green, kind of a streaky guy, wins a couple, loses a couple. Good fighter. Don't want to trash on Bobby Green, but I think Nazareth's just kind of that next step up, and I think he's being undervalued. But he's kind of fought the who's who recently. Now I think this is a little bit of a very winnable fight for him. He's an underdog. That's gonna be my pick for the first fight of the main card. I believe that is.
I just want to interject here and say that his original opponent, John McDessie, very good friend of mine, and that fight was gonna be so fire, and I'm so sad it's not happening. So rest in peace.
He's Canadian, isn't he a fellow Canadian of mine?
He's Canadian. Mm-hmm.
He is, yeah. Shout out John McDessie.
It was originally supposed to be Hernandez. Or who was supposed
to be Nasrat and John, and they have real beef. Like they really don't like each other.
So that fight's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's been made twice now. This will be it'll happen.
So my draft is complete for all four underdogs. So we'll see how this strategy works. But now we're winding it down here. So Reed, your final pick. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I like the Nazareth play. Also, Bobby Green's a guy where it's probably going decision. He just got a knockout win his last fight. So I feel like he's kind of getting a little push from bettors. They just saw he knocked out Aikeda, but over the hill type of fighter. I'm not that impressed. So I'm probably going to have a bet on Nazareth, to be honest. My draft board hasn't necessarily broke the way I wanted, but I'm going to be on Izzy. So I might as well go again, underdog kind of chalky play. So I'll take Izzy with my final pick. And again, Ian, you made a very good, very strong case as to how Robert Whittaker can win. Maybe the odds are a little disrespectful, but I don't know. Is Whittaker going to grind out a decision? Is he going to make up that 7-inch reach disadvantage? Like if this is a stand-up fight, is he just going to point his way to another win? We've seen it time and time again. Whittaker got clipped the last time these two fought him. Izzy finished him, I believe it was round 2. I don't think Whittaker's just going to wade in there again and try and challenge him striking. We haven't seen anyone really challenge him in the wrestling department besides Jan Blachowicz. And again, that's at light heavyweight. That's, in my opinion, a totally different type of fight. I'm going to go Izzy. I think he gets it done. We're trying to, build up the bankroll a little bit. So I'll lay the chalk. I'm probably going to, again, look to key in on Izzy and parlays. I just think he's the right side here.
Square. Two picks of minus 200 or longer. All right, we'll see. We'll see if that works.
Listen, I'm not, like I said, I'm typically an underdog based guy, but the card just didn't break out when I was going through it, especially today. That's when I really sat down and broke down the card. I just ended up looking at a lot of favorites. I know the two I ended up picking were over minus 200. I'm not going to lay those straight, but again, I just see the likelihood of victory is in Izzy's favor. I think that he's going to be able to shut down Whittaker takedowns. I think he's going to outpoint him and he's going to get the job done probably by decision this time.
Okay. We'll see. I think no, 3 of my 4 picks I'm going against someone else, so we'll see how that works out. Amy, your final pick of the draft.
I've been going back and forth on this one. Like, part of me wants to go with the underdog to be, you know, edgy. And then I don't know. I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips. I've been following his career from the day he made pro. He's just like a fun fighter. I can't bet against him. He's a favorite. He's not an underdog. So I'm just Kyler Phillips. Easy for me. Oh, I didn't realize he was that big of a favorite.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Listen, got to get on the board.
I have him in a lot of parlays.
Got to
That
get
makes
on the board.
sense. He beat my friend in his last fight, and that kind of solidified, like, all right,
No, Phillips is real good. He's incredibly talented.
he's my like one that I feel the most confident about the entire fight card, I believe.
Yeah, it is short odds, but I mean that gets you a win on the board at the very least. So yeah, sometimes you got to take a big favorite. All right, Jeff, final pick of the draft. It's back to you. One more pick. Who do you got?
I've been playing risky all night, and I'm going to keep at that. I was going to play Moicano, but I kind of just want to go against you again. So I'm going Bobby Green. I like Bobby Green a lot in this fight, man. He looked real good against Paziv. Yeah, I'm taking Bobby Green in this fight. I don't think it's like a blowout. Like, I don't think it's like here and here, but I think it's I think Bobby Green can edge a good decision against Nasrat. And Bobby's looked really good, man. And I think his striking is underrated. He has a real good ability to roll with the punches. It looks like he gets hit clean a lot, but he doesn't, man. He's really good at seeing the punch last second and kind of rolling with it. So I think his striking is underrated. And yeah, I can see him edge decision against Nasrat.
So I realized right before I said my pick, I said I was going to go with the first fight of the main card, and you're like, "Ah, damn! You thought I was going to go Bobby Green, and I went the opposite way." So we're going head to head in 3 fights. All 4 of my picks, I'm going against someone on this show. So I've lost all confidence. I've lost all confidence in my pick. All right, so the draft is completed. There we go. Let's really quick just recap our picks. Reed, did you write them down at all? Because I did not.
I did not write them down, but I'm pretty sure I could give an honest effort on rattling them all off. I'd like to test the memory here.
Well, we can even just go person by person because I have my own written down, but I didn't write down everyone else's.
Okay, so everyone could reshare. Jeff, you could lead us off. Rattle off your 4 picks.
Sweet. I had Andrei Arlovski. Odds are pretty close on that guy. Max Grinshin. Odds are pretty close. Not really that close, but not terrible odds. I forgot my third, but I had Bobby Green. That was the last one, and then my third was Cannonier. There we go.
There we
Let's
go.
All right, Amy, do you have yours written down there at all?
I wrote mine down. Mine are Roxanne, Mike Diamond, Derrick Lewis, Kyler Phillips.
And then
I'm winning. So you know, I'm winning. So
I like those out. For me, I went with Alexander Hernandez, Sergey Morozov, Derek Brunson, and Izzy Adesanya.
And I went Whitaker, Nasrat, Wiliam Knight, and Jared Vandera, all 4 underdogs. So we'll see how that goes. I almost took Tuivasa there with my last pick against Derrick Lewis, but I went Nasrat instead, I think.
I don't know, man. That's a big step up in class for him. I lean towards the Lewis side also. I just feel like that's not Greg Hardy power you're getting hit with. You're getting hit with Derek Lewis power. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah, so that's kind of why I stayed away from Tai Tuivasa. And also I'm just kind of cheering just for emotional sake, cheering for Derek Lewis, because, I mean, how can you not love Derek Lewis? So, yeah, there we go. That is our very first episode of Jab Cross Hook, a fan-sided MMA show. If you're watching it, be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to be doing this weekly, I believe, giving out picks. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us, my friend. You were great. Good luck with your bets this week. Any final thoughts by anyone? Jeff, I don't want to keep you too long here. Any final thoughts about this card? Any other bets that you were thinking of that weren't discussed before we shut her down?
Let me take a look. Let's see. I did have some early action this week, and no, everything. I played Bobby Green, I played Grisham, and I played Arlovski this week, and I'm going to pull up a little parlay before the event, but I'm just looking forward to the fights this weekend from a fan perspective, not really from a betting perspective. But the day of the night, I'll be for sure on the edge of my seat watching these fights, knowing I have money on them. So thank you guys for having me, man.
I do one last real quick question. Do you ever bet totals at all, like over under rounds?
Yeah. Some weeks are more prop heavy than actual picks. Like we've had weeks. When I say we, like we got this little group chat at the gym, and we do a good job of, like, sticking to the plays that we put on there. But there's been weeks where we don't really like anything as far as playing people straight. So it's just prop bets from there on.
Like outcomes and stuff like that, like to win by knockout, submission, stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of one that hit real well for me was I had Erin Blanchfield winning. I played her straight, and then I also played her by decision, so I doubled up. And yeah, we went to Sizzlers after that. Man, it hit good.
Are you gonna bet on the Super Bowl? You think?
No, I don't bet anything. I suck at betting anything else. Like,
yeah,
I don't have any luck betting anything besides boxing or MMA. And then I've been betting jiu-jitsu matches when we had that break, and that wasn't too bad.
I didn't even know you could bet on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
you can bet on
certain
anything
books
nowadays.
have, like, yeah, pretty much. But Bet Online has whenever they do like the Fury grappling, or like they had the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, they have those odds on there, so you can bet on those.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Steph. We'll have to have you on again. We'll see who wins this the debut episode of the live stream of the podcast. So, best luck with your career, Jeff. I'm sure we will be talking again. Amy, Reed, great job. We'll see who wins. Thank you for everyone watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Best of luck with everyone's picks this weekend. Enjoy the fight card. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
See you guys. Thanks.